Doodlebop Dodson the donkey was down in the dumps. Not for Doodlebop, the carefree Christmas tomfoolery enjoyed by the others at the Doddleford Donkey Sanctuary. Not for him, the japes and jests and the natty seasonal nosebags. Poor Doodlebop. He'd done his best to banish the blues. He'd tried all the usual things. He'd lit scented candles and taken lazy baths in aromatic meadow grass. He'd eaten buckets of Jen and Berry's mint choc carrot ice cream. He'd even agreed to an extreme makeover. But while everyone said he looked 10 years younger, nothing would shift the little donkey's festive funk. His tail had no swing, his ears had no ping, his smile had no zing. The thing is, auditions for the Animal Apprentice were only a few weeks away. Doodlebop had tried out before, and for 3 years in a row the poor creature had been rubbished or ridiculed and rejected by the judges. His delicate donkey ego couldn't stand another bashing. Now, I'm not saying that the auditions were rigged, but Sir Alan Spider did only seem interested in viewing figures. Performing animals always provided Sir Alan with a quick boost in the battle of the ratings. Not forgetting the freak show, folks. But the real competition were the die-hard business boffins. The opportunists like that clawing at the prize. Humble farmyard critters didn't stand a chance. Many times Doodlebop's chums begged him to audition for a more donkey-friendly show. But Doodlebop had ideas above his station. After all, he had a prodigiously large brain box, just the ticket for high finance and corporate acquisitions. Besides, as the last in an unbroken line of dishy Doodlebops, a line that spanned centuries, nay, even millennia, our donkey's dashing good looks would more than do justice to a Savile Row pinstripe. The only thing holding him back was his fear of failing again. Such a shame. After all, it was Christmas. Doodlebop Dodson the donkey should have been floating on clouds of festive fizz and ginger. He should have been showering sparkles and surprises on his dearest and nearest. Instead, he was getting his tail into such a knot of worry, it seemed unlikely that he would ever untangle it again. Well, that's where Hairy Chin shuffles in. Hairy Chin was the wisest and smelliest donkey at Doddleford. He was really rather jolly and really rather ancient. More to the point, he was really rather cheesed off with Doodlebop's mooching. Such a mournful mug would put even the heartiest oat snuffler off their feed. Oh dear me, Doodlebop. All he wanted was a bit of peace, so that he could wallow in self-pity. With Hairy Chin ambling over, Doodlebop would be forced to cold shoulder his comrade. Uh-oh! Oh! Except the glass ball that Hairy Chin held in front of him. It suddenly flamed in the sunshine. Snowflakes shimmered across its surface, swooping and soaring, whirling and waltzing, fluttering and floating. Doodlebop looked and felt as if he was falling too, and as the sparkling flakes melted, they turned to gold dust, then to sunlight, then to flowers tangled around olive trees. Staring into the ball, Doodlebop could see a story unfold. Cloudy shapes became moving figures, a bustling marketplace with farmers selling grain and animals changing hands for bags of gold. But always one little donkey remained unsold. His ears too stubby, his tail far, far too long. Sunlight in the marketplace faded to ice. And finally, the little donkey was chosen. A young man settled a pregnant woman on its back and tied the donkey's tail tightly round. Again and again he looped it to keep his wife safe from falling. The donkey had been chosen for a reason. Then the journey began, to a stable echoing with angel songs and the cries of a newborn saviour. Weary days turned to star-struck nights. Shepherds and kings followed a celestial light. The years scurried past like wispy clouds, and the baby grew into a redeemer. Another donkey was chosen for another journey. Cheering crowds lined a rock-strewn road. Far on the horizon, sunlight fell upon a wooden cross. Perfect light. Heavenly light. Eternally bright. I probably don't need to tell you that Hairy Chin's Christmas magic perked Doodlebop up no end. Not that it was magic, really. That would be silly. It was just a snow globe, a wise old friend, and a true story from long ago. But seeing the part that the first Doodlebops played in the life of Jesus, how they'd been chosen by God for such important jobs, Doodlebop started to think that perhaps he was chosen too, and perhaps Christ's birth was proof of that. Well, after this brainwave, our donkey's confidence soared skywards like a rocket. And then, just a few weeks later, the dapper chappie got really lucky. Yes, admittedly, it does seem a bit far-fetched, but after all that angst and agitation, Sir Alan Spider actually did choose Doodlebop to be his protégé. You see, the donkey that our Doodlebop saw in the glass ball was the very first of his own ancestors. So Doodlebop had exotic origins that made him at least as appealing as the other competitors. Then, to seal the deal, his tales of life as an orphan rescue donkey turned the Animal Apprentice voters into weepy balls of slush. Of course, in the most important way, Doodlebop's win had nothing whatsoever to do with that silly TV program. He won because the Christmas story showed him that no matter how insignificant he might feel, he'd already been chosen.